Well, hello everybody. This is Charles Harper, and I want to welcome you to our discussion here. And I'm going to be talking to Nick James. And Nick James has been for a long time. He's been doing PLR and a lot of other things along with his wife, and they've got something new coming up. And what I like about it is principle based, and they're going to be talking about things that you can do with your rebrandable content so that you really can turn it into profit, whether or not you want to sell inside of the Make Money Online space or if you want to move outside of that space, because I think, and I'm going to talk to Nick about this, I think the principles are the same. Nick, welcome.
Charles, thank you very much indeed for having me on your show. It's great to be able to take some time out and speak to you about licensing and private label rights and rebrandable content. In fact, I love the way you phrased it as rebrandable content, because you're right. I've been doing this a little while. I sold my first product online back in 2001. So I've got 20 years worth, and you know what they say about 10. You do 10,000 hours in something, and you just about scratched the surface. Right. So I really love licensing. I really love private label rights, rebrandable content, and I'm sure we're going to chew the cud and get some really some golden nuggets for everyone to copy and to write down and start implementing in their own business over the next 30, 45 minutes or whatever we have. So yeah, it's great to be with you. Thank you for inviting me on, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So now you've got something coming up, and I know that you're going to give people some help, but I want to just from a mindset perspective, when you approach, and let's say that you've got an asset you've just purchased, whether or not it's it's a newsletter, whether or not it's a video course, you've got something, it's rebrandable. What's the first sort of principle or mindset that we should kind of approach this when we're looking at something that we just bought that's now rebrandable?
Well, I mean, if we take a step back, I mean, when I first got involved in making money online, setting up a home-based business, I was very quick to realize that the fact is we're selling information.
Yep.
And when we sell this information, I know we can sell it in different formats. That's not really where I'm focused right now. But the fact is that information can really be created in one of three different ways. You can create the information yourself, which is laborious. We know so many people that have a book inside them, but it takes 10 years to maybe even write the contents of the first chapter. So that's the first thing. You can write things yourself. The second thing is you can license the content, which is what we're talking about today. And the third way we can do this is we can outsource it to a freelancer or a ghostwriter. Yep. So the first thing I do when I look at any kind of licensed opportunity is I kind of think of it a little bit slightly differently to most people. I look at it as having a non-exclusive ghostwriter where I don't have to pay those huge ghostwriting fees to create a fantastic product that we can start to sell. So whether it's video, which is what you guys specialize in, whether it's the written word, audio, whatever it happens to be, that content has been created already. So that takes a huge weight off our job as publishers, as marketers, as authors, speakers, coaches, to actually get to the dirty end of actually creating some of the content. Mm-hmm. So when we think about the fact that licensing gives us the opportunity to get that content quickly, in fact, I'd say you can probably get a licensed product to market in your niche about 10 times faster than you could if you were going to write something from scratch. Yep. So the first thing I think of is the fact that licensing is a way of getting to market faster. And you hear different people talking about money loves speed. Why struggle over something when you can do a licensing deal, get some private label rights, get some rebrandable content, and get something to market quickly? Mm-hmm. But the way you position things, I love it. I haven't heard anyone talk about this, as clearly as you do straight away. Rebrandable content, high quality information that you can put your name on. That's what's really cool here. And it's the fact that you can make your product look different from anybody else's. And that, I think, is one of the keys and the catalyst from somebody that maybe struggles with licensed products or private label rights, and somebody that really excels. It's the fact that they've taken the time to do that rebranding step.
What I like about what you said is that you have really been involved since 2001, and what's really interesting is there are tactics, and then there are principles, because the principles, I'm guessing, Nick, have not really changed since that time, right? The principles of approaching a licensed deal have not changed.
Yeah, one of those principles. All right, so the principle. Let's talk about a principle for now. You want to be the only person that somebody comes to for that product.
Mm-hmm.
That, and the tactic that we use in order for that principle to be there is we use rebranding. But just think about shopping habits for a moment. Okay, when you go online, if you want to buy something like a new 50 or 70-inch color TV for the living room, the chances are you're going to go on, you're going to put that model number and the make into Google, and you're going to see who's selling the thing cheapest. People search for model numbers and part numbers online, vacuum cleaners, whatever, blenders, whatever it's going to happen to be. What can you do with your branded licensed content to make it you are the only place to get that content, because they're searching for your title of the product, they're searching for your name, they're searching for what you've made the product into. And let me give you a couple of examples. I've got some things I want to share with you. The first thing that I ever got about licensing was a 60-minute cassette tape. This is called 1998, okay? And this was called Paul. And this is really kind of where I started off my information publishing business. You imagine this. This was like, I mean, forgive me, I'm talking off the top of my head, but I don't know when YouTube came out, but I remember in 2001, the internet was a silent place. So never mind YouTube and having videos, you were lucky if you had a picture of the webmaster, and underneath the picture, you were lucky if there were 3 buttons you could play a recording of the webmaster, right? So the broadband speeds weren't quick enough to do all this downloading and stuff. So this is where I cut my teeth, selling and sending out cassette tapes, either individual tapes or library cases of more. I've got some other examples of bits and pieces to share with you. But the principle's got to be, how can you be unique? The unique selling point. That's the principle. The tactic is the rebranding. So it's like, how do you rebrand? And let me be very clear about this. If you don't rebrand that content, then you're like everybody else. So why would anyone come to you? Why would you get the sale? Then you compete on price, and that's not a good place to be.
Right. So now in terms of we talk about like these two. I look at it as two different camps. We know that there are people who are listening, and they're going to operate inside of the space that we know, which is JVZoo, Warrior Plus, ClickBank, and just that space. And then there's this other space that you're operating in where it's outside of those areas where people don't even, kind of even know what those are. Can we first talk about like the space that we're in, the make money online space, when we have licensed content, how should we approach this market as opposed to the other market?
Well, I think everybody thinks that their business is different. But when we talk about principles and tactics of licensing, let's be clear, it's been used in other industries for years. So if you're not in make money online, if you're not in internet marketing or anything like that, you can still use licensing. Let's talk about other people that have used licensing very quickly. Richard Branson, he licensed when I know he's famous now for Virgin Galactic. I know he's famous for Virgin Airlines and all that kind of stuff. He started off with a record label in London, and he was making phone calls out of a red British phone box, okay? And he licensed Tubular Bells by Mike Oldfield. So that's licensing in the record industry. And then we've got Bill Gates. I mean, you think about what he licensed. He licensed that quick and dirty operating system. That's right. From the and he licensed that to forgive me. He licensed that to who was it, Giles?
Was it Apple or no.
No, it was, anyway, forgive me. Everyone's going to be screaming at me.
Right, I got you.
That was a licensing deal. So licensing works wherever you are. So if you are an author, speaker, coach, you're an information publisher, whether you publish that information out of your mouth, on stage, through various courses that you publish, you're an information publisher. Within information publishing, we get the internet marketing, the make money online, the JVZoo, the Warrior Plus, the ClickBank people that like to make those kind of products. And yes, this works for you too. But don't think that it only works for the people that sell on JVZoo, ClickBank, Warrior Plus. It works for everybody and in all kinds of niches. Even the car industry use licensing. There are various different makes of van, and they just stick a different badge on the front, different trucks stick badges on the front. It's the same vehicle underneath. It's the same with cars, especially in Europe and Japanese cars, whether it's a Toyota or it's a Citroen from France or whatever. It's the same car. It's made in the same factory, and they just slap another badge on it. It happens all over the IT industry. Whether it's Seagate that make the drives or it's Toshiba or whoever it is, then someone else comes along and they put their own little label on top of the device. So that's white labeling. And that white labeling is what we know as private label rights. It's the same thing, but it happens all over these different industries. But with regard to licensing for the make money online kind of niche, there are some wonderful opportunities because you can pick up so many information products in that space with private label rights. And if I'm completely honest, I think those authors, those product developers have completely undervalued the licenses and the prices. So that's one thing I really think you should make note of. Just because somebody else is selling the private label rights to a product for 20, 30 bucks, 100 bucks, whatever, it doesn't mean that's all that product is worth. It was just they had something in their mind that was telling them that that was the ceiling price that they could charge. But if you change the packaging, if you change the marketing a little bit, you kind of multi-format the thing, you work on it, you rebrand it a little bit, you improve the sales letter or the sales video, and you add value to the offering, there's no reason why you can't be selling that retail for much more. And maybe you've picked up a license that allows you to sell licensing rights. You picked up what's called the master rights. You might be able to sell it for way more than the original licensor. I'll give you a classic case of that. A little while back, I'm talking maybe 10 years ago, there was a product that came out by a guy called Jeremy Burns. It was called Video Disc Goldmine. I bought the rights to 10 or 12 discs on CD-ROM. I bought that. I made over $1 million with that product. I probably made even more than Jeremy Burns made because I rebranded the whole thing and I was selling it to an offline audience. I wasn't selling to people on the internet. I was selling to people by direct mail. They never heard of Jeremy Burns. He wasn't a competitor. I was selling it in the UK market. He was selling it, to the worldwide market on through the internet. So again, rebranding things, polishing up the marketing, adding something to make yourself unique, and then I think we were selling our copies at 697 British pounds. That was probably about $800 or $900 US at the time. And I remember that day. If I could just entertain you just for a minute, Charles. I remember being, I went to a DVD and a CD-ROM duplicator, and I couldn't afford to have everything put in the DVD cases, but it was on disc. So I had everything given to me on like the spindles like you get from Best Buy. And I had them delivered to me like that, but I couldn't afford the boxes. So I bought the boxes cheap on eBay, and then we printed the labels that go in the front of the color laser printer. And I remember we had about 80 discs in this box. And my family came and helped me to make these boxes up. And then eventually my mum was getting tired. She said, look, we're putting all these discs in this box and all the bubble and all the, the chips and the packing chips and stuff. And she said, I need to stop. And I said, well, thanks for your help. She said, tell me what you're selling these boxes for again. And I said, Mum, each one is like 697 British pounds each. She said, put the kettle on. We'll carry on filling these boxes. And then the UPS truck came, and they take about 80 orders away that we had in over the weekend. I mean, I was over the moon. This was like my first huge payday. So yeah, it was rebranding. It was still using things physically, still sending things out physically, but you could still get the math to work and make that immensely profitable. Again, it's a way of adding value rather than competing on price.
And this is the kind of thing, this mindset that you just talked about, which is basically buying something, which is PLR at wholesale, and then taking something at wholesale, just like any other business would, and then turning it into a retail product, buying inventory. So you're going to show people in Hidden PLR how to buy something at wholesale, take that inventory and turn it into something, and then sell it at retail.
Yeah, I mean, we go through like a really simple three-step process within Hidden PLR. And we know that, by the way, we know that PLR stands for private label rights. But within Hidden PLR, the P stands for something completely different. The L stands for something completely different, and so does the R. But let me give you a quick example. I know you love video, so let me give you an example of something that I licensed on video back in the day and how we kind of changed things and added some value to it. So I got a package of DVDs. I mean, remember those when we had DVD players in the lounge?
I still have them.
These were some DVDs that were made by a guy called Bill Myers. Now, he made these in his little video shop in the back of Arkansas somewhere, and he had one about the tools of product development. He had another one about building and managing subscription websites. He had another DVD about eBay. What I did was I from the collection that Bill gave me, I took just one of those discs. Now, I didn't have the rights to change the content of the DVD. He was the expert. He said
Yep.
you can change the title, you could change the packaging, you change the graphics, you can change the sales letter and all that kind of stuff. But I couldn't change the actual content. That was the terms of the license.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did was I came up with some new artwork for the disc. Now the big mistake I made at the time was I still called it, and I can't see if you can see that, it was still called eBay for Fun and Profit.
Yeah.
And it was still called eBay for Fun and Profit here. But then the next thing I realized was, there are other people that are going to be selling this DVD. Some of them were actually selling it on eBay for about $5. And I thought, I'm not going to be selling it for $5.
Yep.
So the next thing I did was I went to some of the places you can go online back then were to get articles. You could get private label rights articles from sort of the easy article directories and all those kind of places. And then you could get article packs. I ended up putting together and then rewriting a dozen or so articles, and I put together this handy guide. I called this the Advanced Tips and Tricks. Okay, so now I had the DVD that I was giving away, plus the manual. And again, I was still fumbling my way through this, but there was something for people to watch on the DVD. There was something for people to read in their favorite armchair.
Yep.
There was a learning style here of the watching. Some people like to to learn by watching videos. Other people like to learn by reading. I thought, well, that's probably me on the video, not me necessarily in the manual. And then the next thing I found, and I'm sure you have these in the US as well, you have places where you can go and pick things up at government auctions and police auctions. It's like maybe some of the stuff that got stolen and they couldn't give it back to their original owner, so they kind of raised money for charity and it went to auction. Well, I was teaching people, well, I didn't write this book. I found somebody else that wrote this book, did a licensing deal. I added it to this CD-ROM. So we're now teaching people where you get stuff cheap, where you can sell it on eBay. Then we're telling people how to list things on eBay the right way. And then we're telling people the advanced tips and tricks to make over 6 figures a year with eBay. And the final thing we did was we put some software onto this CD-ROM. Now, back when I was releasing this in 2006, 2007, there was no nice editor in eBay, and you had to pay extra if you wanted more than half a dozen photos to be uploaded.
Yep.
So we created a piece of software. I mean, this was like really simple stuff. It was called Auction-O-Matic. I sold it on ClickBank for $35 at a time. And you type with 2 fingers, or your dad could type with 2 fingers, and then you decide how you want the headline and the subhead to be and the bullet points, and it all looks like a really good advert. Copy and paste all the HTML code into eBay. We put this package together, okay? So it's now not just the original DVD. We've added value, and we've put the software, the warehouse auctions guide, the advanced tips and tricks, the original DVD into a package called Online Auction Profits, and we were selling it for $67 plus $4.95 shipping and handling, and we sold thousands of these. But we were the only people selling the Online Auction Profits Home Study Course. We weren't selling the eBay for Fun and Profit anymore. We're selling the Home Study Course. And we added so much value. There was a licensee down the road from where I lived at the time who was struggling to sell these at $5 a time on eBay. And we're thinking, well, I'm not going to be selling this on eBay. We went out, we had little magazines, classified ads around the, in newspapers, magazines, anywhere we could buy ads at the time. We sent out direct mail. We had JV partners. We did email marketing, and we sold thousands of copies. Again, nobody could Google, Online Auction Profits Home Study Course and find it anywhere else. And that's and we, that is one of the main secrets we found was we're not competing now on the search terms that other people are searching on. We're not competing on the same artwork. They're not going to see it, recognize it. And we've done a good job of making ourselves unique by adding that value. So whether you're in the make money online space or the coaching space, or you're an author or a speaker, or teaching gardening, whatever it happens to be, dog training, I don't know. We always use these kind of examples online, right? But it doesn't matter what kind of space you're in. You can use those principles and that tactic to make yourself different from anybody else with the same license.
This is so good because it transcends, a lot of the questions that we get sometimes, specifically, I'm going to talk specifically about video right now, Nick, and I'm glad you highlighted that, is that in some cases, it may make sense not to revoice. So somebody gets our video PLR, it may not always make sense to take the work that we've done and to redo it in their own voice, because there are certainly a lot of more things on the marketing and rebranding end that people can do to really add the most bang and to sell it for higher. Would you say that's true?
I would absolutely agree, and I would also say that I think that if we just remember that money loves speed, what you don't want to do is get into this whole situation of thinking, I need to revoice the video, I need to do this new narration, I need to edit everything, I need to re-render everything and repackage everything. That might be too much for some people to get the product to market. Okay, getting the product to market, and I said earlier on, you can get a licensed product to market 10 times faster than you could if you create it from scratch yourself. So do the things where you can maybe make a package, make the graphic design look like everything has come from the same stable. I mean, if I was to hold up these three things again, you wouldn't believe they came from 4 or 5 different places, because now the artwork makes it look like it's come from the same house, the same place.
That's right.
That's more important than anything else. And then it's down to your sales copy, your sales presentation, whether you want to come on video and record a simple, sort of face to camera style thing that we're doing now. You could talk about your product, or whether you want to go and write an intriguing headline and talk about the big benefits and the what's in it for me statement and the intriguing bullet points and the call to action. You can do that too, but make it different, make it unique than what everyone else is doing. So what I'm saying is, I think it's more important than revoicing the video to think about, even if your licensor has done a great job giving you graphics, and you might even have the Photoshop files. I mean, great, perfect. But you know what? Don't use them. Just find another graphic designer, or you could do this yourself if you're good with graphic design. Make it look $1 million in a completely different way. And people do judge a book or a DVD or a video course by its cover. So as long as the graphics look good, then that you're halfway there, and then just make sure the entire package, the marketing is looking nice and fresh. So put your time and energy into that rather than revoicing a video. Because let's face it, if you don't like the sound of your own voice, if you don't like you on tape recorder, if you stumble, have little pet phrases that you keep coming up with, then maybe you're not the best person to revoice the video anyway. So
Right.
Don't put extra challenges and hurdles in the way. It doesn't make sense.
Wow. So as we kind of wrap up here, what do you think, is probably the chief thing, because I'm really excited about, hidden PLR, especially for just what you just talked about, is understanding that whole process of adding value, what you're going to show people how to do.
That's exactly what we do.
So what's the number one thing, you think people are going to get, when they get inside of hidden PLR and they finish it, what do you envision for the people that once they have finished, that they will know how to do once they have finished the course?
Well, let's be clear. The hidden PLR is about a 3-step system, the P, the L, and the R. And I believe that you could study and you could implement this in one day. And sometimes it's the small things that we can do that can have the biggest effects. I mean, if you think about a cruise ship can steer in different directions by one of the smallest rudders on the back of the ship. One of the smallest muscles in the human body is the tongue. But, that tongue can have a huge reaction on other people, their emotions, their actions, what they do. This small step, these small strategies that I'm showing you can have a profound difference on the results that you have with licensed products, whether you're the guy that's going to be taking the thing out of the box, putting it online in 24 hours and maybe selling 1 or 2 copies if you're lucky, and somebody that's maybe spent a day or two to go through the hidden PLR system and end up like me with this eBay system back in the day, and that difference between the guy down the road selling it for $5 on eBay, competing on price, and me who was like enjoying the luxuries and the lifestyle that you all hear about that you can have online. We were living that. And you should know that this isn't something that is a flash in the pan thing. This is something I originally started in 2001. It wasn't with cassette tapes. I mean, my first thing wasn't even with DVDs. My first thing was with a set of videotapes. And again, I just realized that this hidden PLR system, it didn't have a name back then. It wasn't called hidden PLR. But when you do it, this little thing that other people aren't doing, that had a big reaction. Same as that little rudder on the side, in the end of the cruise ship, it turned a floating hotel. It cruised it around the world. Just like I was giving an example of the smallest muscle in the body, have huge differences. this hidden PLR strategy can have a huge difference to your success and your bottom line. Listen, I can't promise anyone they're going to become a millionaire by tea time, right? I don't know that, I don't know what else you've done, but what I can tell you is what it's done for me over the last 20 years, and it's never failed.
That's really awesome. Oh, so everybody, you're going to see a URL right down here at the bottom, and at that URL, I'm actually going to add Nick to the people that picked this up from this link that I have here at the bottom. I'm going to give them 5 licensable products, things that we have done, on various subjects, so that they will be able to apply what they're learning, in the actual course. And then what I'm really hoping is that folks will just kind of let me know what they did with it, because I am really excited just about what you just said, understanding that no, you don't have to redo everything in your own voice. It's really about what you're going to be showing them in the course, which is adding that unique value that they bring to the marketplace. Nick, anything else we should know about hidden PLR before we go?
I think we have it covered. I mean, if anyone's got any more questions, I just want you to know that I'm, as a customer, you'll get our details anyway. Charles is approachable. I'm approachable. I want the very, very best for you. I want you to be really successful with PLR. I'm really passionate about teaching people. The biggest thing I want to teach people is that there is a different income model, okay? And you don't have to work hours for money. It's much better to work, and get these products, these private label products, get them online. The more you have online, it's not about the hours you work in a day. It's the number of websites you have selling these kind of products. And, before long, things change. You can give up the 9-to-5 rat race. You can be working from home. You can be doing all these cool things. That's what I want people to be able to do, because I wasn't happy until I found this. So hopefully my passion comes across. We'll look after you as a customer. I know Charles looks after you guys as well. And if you have any questions about the hidden PLR system or anything else, just reach out. We actually answer, my wife and I, our own emails, so if you think that we outsource that kind of stuff, we don't. So we'll look after you, and it'd be great to be able to help you with your licensing projects. And I know Charles has got some great stuff. And Charles, I actually have the hots for one of the things that you've actually recently done, which is about Anchor FM. So after this video, I'm going to go pick that up anyway, because podcasting is really new to me, and I know I'm going to learn a lot from the bits and pieces you put together. So thank you for doing that one.
That's awesome. So everybody, so if you're listening from iTunes, or you're on YouTube and you're listening and you don't have a place to click, here's the URL, the plrshow.com/Nick J, which stands for Nick James. So again, depending on when you're hearing this, go to the plrshow.com/Nick J. Obviously, if you're watching this, just go straight to this URL or just click it on the page. That'll take you to, this awesome hidden PLR. Really looking forward to the results you get. And what I'm going to ask you to do is, when you have created your first project and you have put it up for sale, I want you to write me back, and I will have something for you. So that's another thing that I'll do. So again, now the thing I want to see you do is, if you get it, I want you to go through the training, apply it, use the bonuses we're giving, and then once you get your first project up for sale, write me back, show me the URL, and then I've got something else for you after that. So Nick, man, thank you. This has been really, really awesome. I'm really looking forward to the results that I'm seeing that people are going to get from understanding these principles that have, again, it's not the tactics, it's not the Facebook group and all the other things that come and go. It's really understanding these principles about rebrandable content that make the difference. So thanks for sharing, man.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. And listen, everybody, the best of luck. I look forward to hearing about your successes over the weeks and the months as well with Hidden PLR and everything that Charles gives to you with his package. Thanks very much, everybody. Thanks, Charles.
All right. Have a great day and a pleasant tomorrow, everybody. Take care.